guys, this is Tony from Airguns ARP. Today I have the Gamo Urban and 22 caliber with me. We'll be doing a quick review on it, show you how it functions. Right now, so far, I'm really liking this rifle. Been doing great up to 25 yards. It's a little different than other Gamos. It's made in the UK, and you know, the magazines bear a certain resemblance to another well-known UK airgun manufacturer. Yes, this is in all likelihood made by BSA Airguns, so you're getting a lot of gun for a really affordable price. Let's point out some of the features on this rifle. So the Urban comes in 22 caliber, at this time 22 caliber only. It's a pre-charged pneumatic air rifle with a 150cc tube, fillable to 232 bars of pressure, which is around 3,365 psi. It's a bolt-action, multi-shot, 10-shot removable magazine. It does have an 11mm dovetail on the top for you to mount a scope to. You will need to mount a scope because there are no iron sights. There are no open sights on this rifle. It is moderated. It is relatively backyard quiet, backyard friendly. Has a cold hammer forged rifled steel barrel. Once again, 22 only. Uses a BSA fill port that goes in the front, has a cap that comes off for it. Two-stage adjustable trigger. The trigger does experience quite a bit of creep between stage 1 and 2. You can adjust it, and you could probably get it to the point where you're comfortable with it without having to do a lot of tinkering. The stock is probably one of my favorite low-end synthetic stocks. While it's a hollow stock, it is an ambidextrous hollow thumbhole stock. It has a cheek riser in the back. It has a adjustable butt pad that also is what they call a shockwave absorber, or SWA recoil pad. It helps lower the already very low recoil on this. At 42 inches long, it's great for taking into the brush, great as a field gun. 6 pounds, 6.5 or so on the rifle itself. Trigger pull came in right at 2.89 pounds, so a little under 3 pounds, yet a little higher out of the box than what they say it is supposed to be at. Let's see how it actually does, though, when we go and shoot it. First, we have up the 22 caliber Predator GTO for the get the lead out or get the out. These are a lead-free premium pellet. They're lightweight. They're only 11.75 grains. And I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't setting high hopes or expectations for them. Boy, was I wrong. I've heard from close friends over at Trinity Outdoors that they've been having some amazing results out of the 25 caliber GTOs. And I really was skeptical on it because, let's face it, up to this point, most of the lead-free offerings haven't really lived up to our hopes and needs. I guess I'm wrong. These GTOs, they've been pretty amazing. As you can see here, these are two 25-yard groups, 10-shot groups per. We had winds that were varying from, I think the low was 3 miles an hour, gusting up to 8. You know, these groups are really good. In fact, I'd venture to say that someone with more shooting experience and skill than myself could probably tighten these up even a little more. Each of the squares on these targets are 1-inch squares, so we're getting under 3/4 inch groups. In fact, with the exception of 2 flyers in the top group there, I think we might have been able to hold that to well under a 1/2 inch and probably under 3/8 of an inch of a clover length group center to center. So yeah, these Predator GTOs surprised me, exceeded my expectations, and are really good in this gun. Next up, we decided to go to the JSB 1589 grain pellets. These are usually one of my 2 standbys, these and the 1813s. If the JSBs don't work, usually go to H&Ns, but in this case, the JSBs definitely did work. The top group I took first, and I was a little concerned because the group I thought could do better. I hadn't realized how much the wind had picked up, and if you take a look on the left side of the screen, you can see the grass there is really blowing. That's probably when we're hitting some of those big old gusts. The lower group there, you know, that's what I usually expect out of JSBs. Under 3/8 of a group, it was great. I had no problems with these pellets. But I did shoot these after I shot the GTOs. And yes, I'm talking about the GTOs again, even though we're in the regular leaded pellets. I did have one or two that I had to put aside because the skirts were crimped and not quite perfect, and, you know, for a review, we want to make sure we're looking at the best possible pellets. With GTOs, I didn't have that. They were extremely uniform because the alloy they're made of doesn't crimp as much, so it doesn't deform as much, resulting in a lot more uniformity from pellet to pellet. Still, though, I gotta say, hands down, the 1589 did have the tighter groups at 25 yards. So while this group was good, we did decide to test a couple other pellets. We had two H&M varieties, a Barracuda and a Barracuda Hunter. That gives us a nice weight differential there, as well as the JSB Exact Jumbo Monsters. So we really were going all over the place as far as what different weights and types we had here. And to be honest, what we did experience was that those first two groups at 25 yards from the GTOs and the JSB at 1589 grain were our best groups. But here's what these other groups look like. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit so you guys can see what the chop groups came out like. At 25 yards, and the wind was, like I said, 3 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, gusting up to 8. Each of the squares on these targets are 1-inch squares. So we still had very acceptable results, definitely within a squirrel of accuracy of any of these at 25 yards. Here we're going to test these at 35 yards using the JSB Exact Jumbo Diabolos. Those are the 1589 grain pellets. This is about the maximum that I really had any expectations of accuracy and consistency to get out of this rifle. As you can see, the lower left group was the first one I took before I adjusted for distance. The right one had a little more of me working out the holdover. It really didn't do that bad at all at 35 yards, and after this I decided to bring it out to 50 and switch over to the GTOs. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I going with the GTOs? Well, in testing the GTOs on the chronograph, it was significantly faster, rather they were significantly faster, and I still found that at 50 yards I was getting pretty decent accuracy out of them, with one exception, and that was the wind. Since they were a much lighter pellet, both of these were taken at two different locations on windy days, and you can see I did have some issues with the grouping on the left, first with windage and then with holdover, but once you got things dialed in, as you'll see in the upper right corner, you know, these actually performed really well. Remember, these are with the lead-free 11.75 grain Predator GTO Pellets in 22 caliber. They're also such a neat little pellet. I know I've said it before, but the consistency I really like out of them. I was surprised. Over at Chronograph, the GTOs continued to surprise. The first 20 shots were really close. Actually, they were under a 2% extreme spread, 18 feet per second spread, averaging 22.46 foot-pounds of energy and 927.6 feet per second. That was over the first 20 shots of the string. After that, things, well, they really started to drop very, very rapidly. After 3 full magazines, so 30 shots, we were looking at an average speed of 907.8 feet per second, but the spread had jumped from 18 feet per second on his first 20 shots to 113 feet per second by the end of the next 10, so a full 30. Extreme spread at that point was over 12%. This next string was taken with the GSB 1589, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little surprised we got better performance of the lead-free GTOs. So here we're looking at a spread on the first 20 shots of 43 feet per second with an average of 818.1 FPS. It's a little over a 5% spread. If we go a full 30 shots on it, once again, this is with the 30 bar fill. On the 30 shots, we had a 207 foot per second spread for a whopping 24%, actually 24.5% extreme spread. We did, however, bring our foot-pound energy up to right around 24 on average for those first 20 shots. So what does it mean? It means that I'm surprised. The Gamo Urban 22 PCP at current offerings under $300, closer to $250 sometimes if you shop around. I think it's a great deal. Equally surprising, the lead-free GTOs from Predator were amazing. I really like them. The consistency was out of this world, and I think I'm going to do some more testing of them in the future just to show what their true potential is. So, this is Tony from Airguns, Air Rifles and Pistols. Happy shooting.